Yesterday, my power went off for about a good hour and a half, 2 hours. I was in the middle of recording the Chibi vlog. Thankfully, I wasn't that too far into it when the power went off. But I was in the middle of recording, power shut off, and I was like, okay, so this sucks. I was a little bit too lazy at the time to, just plug up my generator and try to get everything back in order. So I was like, you know what? I've already uploaded the other vids. I'm just going to sit down in the sunlight near the front porch, and I'm going to read some manga. So I went into my manga collection, and I was just looking through things that I've, been needing to read for a while, and I decided to pick up I Am a Hero. I've had this sitting around for a while. A Chibi sent it to me a while back, actually, from a recent Chibi vlog about a couple months back, and I've been meaning to actually sit down and read this. So I decided to, open it up and read it. Now, I was fully aware before I started this that it was a zombie manga. It was going to be having zombies and stuff, a zombie apocalypse or whatever, so I expected that. So that's what kind of got me into wanting to start it in the first place, is because I do like zombies. I know that zombies have kind of fell out of fashion compared to how they were a couple of years ago, but I still like zombies, maybe not as much as I did back in the past, but I still like the concept of it, depending on how it's done, obviously. And so when I started to read this, I was like, okay, expecting zombies right at the start, but what I got for the first half of I Am a Hero was a nice, good, slow burn to let us see the insight to this character called Hideo and how his life has just went to absolute shit, and then how it was already so bad, and then the zombie apocalypse happens. So, just to do an FYI, I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't read past this volume. I've completely read the entirety of this in one sitting because it was just that good. But, the first half of the manga, actually, is very slow-paced. It doesn't even really focus on zombie content at all. The first half of the volume actually is more spent on building up the world, the support cast, and also the MC. And the main conflict of the first half of, the actual volume is that the main character feels like he is a support character in his own life. Here, let me give an example. So you know how, if you're going to day-to-day life and all that, and for some reason you feel like everything's just out of your control, like you're just there to support someone or whatever, instead of just actually doing something, taking charge and whatever, and leading your life? Well, that's kind of how the main male character felt, Hideo. He felt like he was a support character. He wasn't really directing his life in any direction. He was just basically at the end of his ropes. He didn't even know what to do. He had insecurity problems when it came to, just how his life is. He had some issues with his girlfriend, to the point of where he also has hallucinations and even talks with himself, so we know that his mind is a little bit fucked up. So we throw this all in. This is just the first half of the volume of I Am a Hero. And I was like, holy crap, this character is mentally fucked up. He's very, very fucked up in the head, and he hasn't even gotten to the zombie apocalypse yet. No joke, okay? When I first started reading this, I thought, the chapter opened up and all that, and I figured, now, the reason why he was seeing hallucinations and, people and all that, it was because this was in the future, but that was not the case. We come to find out that this character, he constantly sees things. He constantly has hallucinations or talks to himself, and even when he's sitting down in his work being an assistant manga artist, he's actually talking to himself and have a full-on conversation with his coworkers inside of his mind. So the character is very disturbed in terms of just the way he views things, or just his hallucinations, and if you imagine this, how fucked up he is in the first half of the manga before the zombie apocalypse even happens, I'm very curious to see his mindset to when everything really starts hitting the fan. So that's where the second half of, the manga comes in. So the second half of the manga is spent more on the zombie apocalypse. What happens when the plague finally hits and just it's out of control and you just see people starting to turn into zombies and stuff. What do you have to do? And so it's more fast-paced in the second half of Volume 1 than the first half. And I could see many not wanting to read I Am a Hero because of the first half, since it was kind of slow. But personally, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed how it spent so much time focusing on the character and letting us see what he's going through, how his life is, and just what problems he is facing. I mean, like I said, he's at the end of his ropes. He really didn't even know what he wanted to do. Like, I mean, he wanted to achieve something, but he felt like a support character, and he was very conflicted, and he was constantly talking with himself. He didn't really have anyone he can actually confide in and talk with at his co-worker's place, so basically, he's at the end of his ropes. And when you had the first part of the volume, like I said, it's slow, but very enjoyable. It's definitely needed. And speaking of the zombie elements, though, there is some zombie elements, like, hidden behind the scenes throughout the first half of the volume. Like, you have news reports and saying, like, there's people biting each other, or, like, you know, the people that are working in, like, hospitals or whatever, they're, like, getting shot. You just see these little subtle nods that the outbreak is getting worse and worse as it progresses, and you even get to see a scene in the first half of the volume to where this woman that's walking, and this dude accidentally hits her with the taxi, and her neck just, like, snaps. And from what you previously already have seen from the manga already at this point, you can either think that it's a zombie, or you can think he's just seeing shit. You really don't know, because the man is obviously not all there in the head, the way he constantly just talks to himself and stuff. So you don't really know if what he first saw was a zombie, or if it was actually just, you know, him going, you know, crazy or whatever. Regardless, though, the first half, I gotta say, was quality. It was a really nice way to kind of slowly gear you up for the plague and the outbreak that happened in the second half. So to get into it, the second half of the volume 1 of I Am a Hero, is very stereotypical in terms of, like, zombie stories. Like, you know how when the main character, they're having to rush to safety, place to place, going back and forth or whatever, trying to find some safety, and they're on the run or whatever, zombies are chasing them. Basically, the second half is kind of like that. It's a very stereotypical zombie setting, but the way it is done, though, it's perfect because the first half of the volume made you understand this character and actually care for him. Because in normal zombie series I have either read or watched, normally what many writers like to do is they like to throw the main character at you, and you're supposed to automatically like him. Like, okay, you know how, like, all of a sudden when a series begins, it shows, like, the zombie apocalypse has kind of already happened, and basically you have this main character, he's in this world and all that, and he's just trying to run for his life, or she's trying to run for her life, and you're supposed to like them, automatically since they're the MC. That is not the case with this series, from what I could see. The first half, like I said, builds you up with the character. You understand what this character's thinking, what he wants to do, and why he acts like he does. And so, when you get the zombie outbreak, you actually understand how his world just got a hell of a lot worse, and you actually feel for this man, and you feel like this man actually needs a break. Who knows, maybe the zombie outbreak could have been one of the best things that's ever happened to him, since, I mean, he was already going down like a dead-end path. What's to say that this man, you know, probably had a good, you know, turnaround because of the zombie apocalypse. Regardless, though, there is something very unique about this manga when it comes to zombies. You know, in normal zombie stories, usually you have either slow-paced zombies or whatever, or you have zombies that can run. You know that type of zombies. Well, in I Am a Hero, for what I can see so far, the zombies in this series are very, very different from all the other forms of zombie stories I have seen. And what I'm saying is that the zombies in this story, they're not mindless. Like, they're not at the point to where, you know, they're like, you know, brains or whatever. They're just moving and just trying to eat people. The zombies in this story, they can remember certain pieces of their previous life. So, for an example, you have, like, someone that is, like, a landlord and all that. They're, you know, always coming into, you know, the people are renting from them. They're like, you know, rent money, give me rent money or whatever. Basically, you have this example to where a zombie, this landlord, walks up to the main characters like, rent money and all that. Like, just saying, like, this jumbled mess, but saying, like, rent money, even though, like, his head's all fucked up and shit, and that you can clearly see he's already a zombie. So the zombies in this series do remember some things or aspects of their previous life, but they're still zombies, if you understand. And it also is seen that the zombies can actually run in this series, or grab things, open things up. We even see examples to where a zombie actually, you know, grabs a bat and shoves it into her mouth. Now, I'm not going to get into the context of why that is. You'll have to read it for yourself. But I will say that I Am a Hero is a very graphic manga. It's definitely not for those under the age of 18, because there is nudity, sexual content in this, and some very, very extreme violence. So it's definitely not for ages 18 under, but, you know, I'm just letting you know, just giving a disclaimer for that. Regardless, though, I do think that I Am a Hero has a very unique zombie type, you know, conflict in this, because the way the zombies are, it's different. And that makes me very interested to see how the character is going to survive in a world where zombies, they're not smart, but they are definitely smarter than the average zombie. And I'm curious how someone could survive in a world where zombies can just run you down and stuff, and they kind of remember stuff from their previous life. It's kind of scary. So there is some romance as well in this series. I Am a Hero did have the first half of the volume focus on romance. I'm not going to get into too many details because of spoilers. I want you to read it for yourself and get your own opinion and stuff. But there is romance in this series, and I gotta say that it was really well-handled romance. I was very surprised with how good the romance was in this first volume. Now, I know the series is most likely not going to focus entirely on romance. It's mainly going to, you know, focus on the world building to surviving the end of days and all that. But I would like to see more romance in this manga. I don't know if it will or not, but I am definitely interested in continuing this series and seeing where it's going to go, because I did enjoy the first volume, and so that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. I kind of wanted just to recommend a good zombie manga that I just discovered yesterday when I was just reading through my manga and stuff. Oh wow, this is a really good, you know, manga volume. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and I just wanted to share this series with all of you. So if you have not started this, like, if you've never heard of this, you're interested in zombie manga, give it a shot, you might like it. Now, once again, forewarning, this is a series with a lot of sexual content, violence and stuff, and on top of that, the first half of the volume, the first volume, is rather slow paced. It doesn't really have much zombie content in it because it builds up the main character. So besides that, it's great. It's a really good manga, and I enjoyed it. So, I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.